I'm Sam Flying Kite. This is The Horror Show. It's week 20, and of course, we're doing Evil Dead 2. Dead by Dawn. Although it doesn't say it here. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, Dead by Dawn. Right? It's like, Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, whatever. Anyways. Okay, so this is the first time I'm actually looking at the back of this, reading this. And, I actually just changed my thoughts about something. But first, the movie came out in 1987, so about 6 years after the first one. It's about an hour and 30 minutes long. It's a little shorter. It's rated R, so there we go. Be a normal movie, right? Directed by, of course, Sam Raimi. Bruce Campbell comes back to play Ash. Sarah Berry plays Annie. Dan Hicks plays Jake. Cassie Wesley DePava plays Bobby Joe. Ted Raimi is actually in this movie. He plays the possessed Henrietta. Denise Bixler plays Linda, and Richard Demire plays Ed. It's also composed by Joseph LoDuca, in which the music actually sounds more legit. So there we go. You already know where I'm kind of going with the music. I wrote down, Ash, sole survivor of OG, right, holes up in the cabin with a group of strangers while the demons continue their attack, which that's not what I wrote, that's what IMDb had. But I actually really like this. Now, after I read this, I'm going to kind of go over the beginning of the movie, in which why, it's kind of odd, but then how it can work out. Bruce Campbell actually said how it can work out. I'm just going to be rephrasing what he said. After a relaxing cabin vacation doesn't go as planned, Ash is left with 3 dead friends, an undead girlfriend, and an angry evil spirit on the loose. As nightfall approaches, Ash must prepare to again battle the legions of the damned if he wants to make it to dawn. I actually didn't even realize that a bad word was going to be there. That's why kids can't watch this stuff. You have no clue, kids. Alright, so how that could work. See, when you go and put in this movie for the first time and you watched Evil Dead, you're gonna be like, oh, this is like something completely different, because the movie starts off with Ash and his girlfriend going in the cabin, and they get to the cabin, and it's just the two of them, there's no other friends, and then she gets she gets possessed, and then he has to hack her up a bit, and then in the morning, that's when the whole spirit chasing after Ash and then grabbing him and throwing him out throughout the woods. That's when that happens. So how this can work is that the very ending of Evil Dead, Ash survives the movie. It's dawn. He walks outside, and he's starting to, take in the air. But then the demon is still out there. It breaks through the house from the back of the house, and then breaks through the front doors and then gets him. And that's how the movie ends. But then you could basically forget the first 5 minutes of Evil Dead 2, roughly, and then when he gets picked up by the demon and starts going in circles, that's when it basically carries on. And that's what Bruce Campbell said, and I'm sure that's what Sam was probably thinking when he did the whole thing. But I really like that, because I've always, before I ever watched the Evil Dead movies, my impression was that Evil Dead was like a really serious movie, and then it was remade as Evil Dead 2 because of rights and whatnot. But it's a sequel. It actually is a sequel, and I mean it's called Evil Dead 2. But I don't know. Maybe I heard some stuff that I probably shouldn't have heard about the movie, and that gave me that interpretation. But now it's like it makes so much more sense. So. That makes me, kind of thing. IMDb has this movie a 7.7 out of 10. About almost 190,000 people voted on it. Let's go with what I think. I think the story is a 5 out of 5. It's effectively the same thing as the first one, except there is more, reason why the people who are there are there. See, Ash is there, but, a group of strangers to him kind of show up, and it's who those strangers are very connected to that place, or the book. Or at least some of them are, anyway. And so it's not just like random people kind of showing up and like, oh, you're like, why, what are you doing here? It's like there's a reason why they're actually there. The characters are a 5 out of 5 for me. They feel a lot more real, I guess. Although that's not really fair. It's not like I had them at like 1 or whatever in the first movie. I think there were like 4 in the first movie. Or maybe 5. I think it was 4 though. But like, I don't know. It just seems a little bit. It's more polished, I guess. Ash is a little more polished, and then the characters that they do add to the movie are pretty good. Music's a 4 out of 5 for me. It's still really good. It's still like an upgrade. But I'm just gonna have it at 4 because, spoiler alert, I really like Army of Darkness' soundtrack. So, the setting is a 4 out of 5. It's the same place as it was last time. So, and then the effects are a 5 out of 5. The effects are just great. Like, dude, I need to watch like Sam Raimi, Peter Jackson, and like John Carpenter movies from like the 80s, and just take notes on like the effects and whatnot, because like those are just so great. Like, how did they get those things done? But it's really cool to think about, because it's like you're doing all of this stuff just for a movie, so that people could go and watch it, and it's really cool. It really is cool, and I can't wait for one day when I could do something like that. And I don't like doing the whole if. I like to think about when. Even though it is more like an if. It always is an if. But, you know, if you think about it like when, then, you know, you put in your mind that it's going to happen someday, right? Or try to anyway. So, ultimately, overall, I have this movie as a 4.8 out of 5. Classic times. I think, anyway. So, yeah. I don't know what else to talk about this movie. Oh yeah, I really like the ending. The ending is really good. So, in the ending, it's just Ash and Annie left. And the demon shows its face and start, you know, attacking, and she's trying to read out of the book to kind of like, you know, send it somewhere else. And she, you know, is able to go and say it, but, you know, she dies in the process. And it gets basically sent through this, portal. Yeah, it gets sent through the portal, and then, you know, Ash is like, oh, you know, we won. You know, thank you, Annie, for your sacrifice, kind of thing. Not like that bluntly, but, you know, he's, right. But then the door opens up, and the portal's still there, and he ends up getting sucked through it. And then he gets sent to 1300 AD, and he's in medieval time. And I guess the only problem with that is just the Army of Darkness doesn't really start off like that. But how Evil Dead 2 ends it is basically like the very ending, when he's in medieval time for like 5 seconds, you know, whatever the screen time is, like a couple of minutes or whatever. It's basically a summed up version of what happens in Army of Darkness. But Army of Darkness goes in a different direction with how it's like when he first gets there. But I mean, I really like the ending, and I think my only legitimate problem, in which I get it, is that they show the castle a couple of times through the movie, whether it's like the people who were looking for the book, or if it's Ash in the medieval time, and it's like on this like hill or mountain kind of thing. But like in Army of Darkness, it's just on a plain, like on a like some like field. It's like it's not on a mountain or anything. It's like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. But I get it. Financial stuff happens. You can't just go and do all the stuff you want to go about and do. But, you know, still, if there was something to nitpick, right? Even though it's like, this is still a really good movie. Should you go watch it? I think, yes, you should certainly go watch it. See, I think you should watch it, like, if you've never seen any of them before, it should be Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead. Now, given there's Rise and there's the remake. But, yeah. But yeah, I think anyone should watch this movie, especially if it's somehow playing on a big screen. That would be dope. I would certainly go and try my best to go watch it. Yeah, this was Dead by Dawn. I don't think there's anything else really to say about it. Yeah, it's just good stuff. Good stuff. And, yeah, I think that's gonna be it. I don't want to just waste any more time. I'm Sam Flying Kite. This is The Horror Show, Week 20, Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. And, yeah. I'll see y'all next week for, Army of Darkness. Goodbye.